Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a bit of a chatty, kind of casual video, a little bit of an update on what's kind of been going on in my life recently. At the moment, I'm kind of at home just waiting for a bit of furniture to be delivered. We've got a really large standing mirror to come in, which is going to go in our living room, like over there. And then we've also just recently got some new chairs for our dining table, and then we're getting this huge bookshelf and a console for in our living room. And then I'm going out later this afternoon to kind of go look for a coffee table because we haven't had one. You probably won't know this because I haven't really talked about it, but when we first moved to Sydney, we had all of our stuff in a storage facility and we were going to get it all shipped over to Australia. And the day that I was actually going to make the payment, I get a call from the relocation services and they said to us, oh, whereabouts your belongings located? Are they in this specific storage facility? Because that one's currently on fire. So I couldn't help but laugh because it's just one of those things, you know, and what are you going to do? You're in another country. When I went online and I looked, there was a storage facility that we had stored our belongings in, and also that the building that was actually on fire was the exact one that all of our belongings were in. So we ended up losing everything. So instead of being able to ship everything over here, we actually had to purchase everything from scratch, which has been a little bit of a mission, but we've been getting there slowly. And because we moved to the suburbs in March, we have a lot more space than we used to have, so it's also been that whole, you know, filling up the rooms. And I mean, it's great because it's really ideal for entertaining, for having friends over, but it does definitely mean that we need to buy a few more things and make our place look a little bit less empty and a little bit more homely. So for those of you who've been asking me for a home tour, I definitely will be doing one and it'll be coming up soon. I just want to make sure that we've got all of the different bits and pieces for our place because at the moment it's very unfinished and it's not really what I want to be able to share with you guys, if you know what I mean. I do kind of have a couple of different ways I was thinking of filming it, so I'd love your feedback on what you would prefer. So the first would be one where I kind of introduce a video and talk about it, and then have a more kind of a stylized, like this is our place, but I'm not actually doing a talk over, a voiceover or anything like that. So that's option one. The other one is where I kind of do a walking tour, kind of like when you're doing a vlog, and I go through and I show you guys everything and I explain every bit in our house. So let me know which one you would prefer to see and I'll film that. Happy to do either. I'm pretty relaxed about the whole thing. So yeah, let me know which one you prefer. I also thought just while I'm here, I'd share with you guys a few of the answers to some questions that I've received recently. I mean, I'm pretty open to doing a Q&A if that's what you guys would like to see, but I mean, again, up to you. Just let me know in the comments if that's what you want to see. But so one of the first things that I've been asked, and I suppose it's not really surprising, but I've been asked about my clothing budget. So while I'm not actually going to give you the amount that I spend on clothing, what I do tend to do every month is I save about a quarter of my salary. Probably about half of that goes towards expenses and rent and all of that sort of thing, and then the rest of it is money that I can spend on whatever I like. So be that going out with friends, going to the movies, going out for a really nice meal, or clothing or makeup, whatever I want, or things for the house as well. So I tend to end up doing my shopping kind of once a month based on that, and I always make sure that I am shopping within my budget. I think the worst thing that you can do is go over budget and spend money that you don't have and get yourself into a really uncomfortable place. So I make sure that I do that and I'm shopping smart every month. I also sell stuff that I don't wear anymore. So any money that I'm getting back from that, I will always end up putting back into buying new clothing. I don't know what it is, but it's a bit of a cycle, so I tend to do that as well. So that sometimes gives me a little bit of a boost to my spending money as well, in case you were wondering, because I know I do have a lot of things which are probably more on the higher end of the scale. And one of the things that you might not know is that I tend to actually shop around. I try and buy things on sale, or else I also am quite open to buying things secondhand. So I shop a lot on eBay, and also when I was in New Zealand I shopped a lot on Trade Me, and I think that that is probably one of the most useful marketplaces because there is just so much stuff on there and you can get it for such a good price. Like, I got this really beautiful Acne dress and I paid, God, less than 10% of its actual value for it. So that kind of goes to show you how cheaply you can get things, and it was in perfect condition as well. I find that that really helps me to be able to get the pieces that I want to have in my wardrobe without really breaking the bank and going over budget. So as I mentioned before, I moved over to Australia at the beginning of last year. So what you probably don't know is I was actually born here in Sydney. My parents had moved here in the early 80s, and yeah, I was born here. We lived in Mount Colah, and they separated. So me and Mum went back to New Zealand, and I grew up in Wellington. Probably in my early 20s, around the time that I was starting to finish university, I decided that I wanted to move to Australia, and at the time I thought I wanted to move to Melbourne just as the parallels between Wellington and Melbourne are so close. They're very similar cities. Melbourne is just a lot bigger and also has probably much better food and bars, but you'd expect that with a larger city anyway. But when I got together with Luke, he was much more set on Sydney, and I think the weather probably was a huge factor in that decision. But I have to say, I'm really glad that we moved over here, and we moved over because of the weather. It's a lot closer to get to Europe and traveling, that kind of thing. There's also a lot more job opportunities over here as well. So for us, it made a lot more sense to move here. For the lifestyle that we wanted to lead and everything like that, it just made a lot of sense. And I have to say, I miss my family so much. It's probably one of the hardest things moving over here is not having my family, because I'm the type of person, I go to my grandparents' place every single weekend, and now I talk to them every week, but it's not the same as going around and visiting them. So that's kind of one of the things that was the hardest for me to do, and I definitely have found over the last year that I really wish that I was at home, but I'm also really glad that we're here in Sydney. So it also means that I'm closer to my dad and my brother and sister who live in Canberra as well, so they are about a 3-hour drive away, which is really, really nice to be able to go down there and catch up with them, or even see my brother and sister when they come up to Sydney occasionally. So lastly, I'm just going to answer a question that I got about being a pet owner and what that's been like. Charlotte is actually, I think, my 5th or 6th cat that I've had. When Luke and I first got together, he bought me a kitten for my birthday, and that's Max, and he currently lives with Luke's parents. They've kind of gotten very attached to him, so I don't think we're going to be getting him back anytime soon. But so having a cat is comes quite naturally to me. I've had so many of them, so it was really nice to be able to get a kitten, although Charlotte is a little princess. Like, she meows first thing in the morning, and then her and Nigel, they actually get along very well. I've never had a dog before, and I wasn't really much of a dog person, just as my experience with dogs has been that they jump on you. Nigel is pretty good. We've trained him quite well. When I say we, I really mean Luke. I've trained him to lie down, but that's kind of been about it. But they get along really well. They play together. Charlotte will lick Nigel's ears, and then she'll also chew them to pieces. And then Nigel, when he gets sick of Charlotte, he will sit on her. But we kind of do have to make sure that we supervise them when they're playing together, just because Nigel is a lot bigger than Charlotte. He's about 20 kilos. He's a blue Staffy, and she is a Russian blue, just in case you're wondering what breeds we had. And he'll just sit on her, and he is very heavy, and you just hear her squeal. So yeah, we just kind of have to keep an eye on them for that. Although one thing I will say is that it's like having children with the two of them, because Charlotte is just, honestly, like I said, she's a little madam. So she starts meowing at about 6:15 in the morning, so she's always waking us up. We do not get to sleep in. Like this weekend just been on Saturday, she started meowing at like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning. I have to go in there and spray her, and she would just keep meowing. It's really, really frustrating. And then Nigel, because he sleeps outside, he will start whining at the door. So it's definitely like having a couple of little children. They're both a bit of a handful, but we enjoy it, and we really, really love them. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of very casual chat and catch up, and if you do want me to do a Q&A in the future, please let me know in the comments down below, and also feel free to drop your questions down there as well, so that way when it comes to doing the Q&A, I can kind of pull them all up and answer all the questions that you guys have. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. See you later. Bye.